All right, hi everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Oh yeah, let me mute my live on the other side because I was just checking that the audio was working. And the audio is actually working. That's great. That is amazing indeed. I think is the audio well? The desktop audio is not connected to this scene, but I am. I thought it's a Saturday, it's a weekend. I usually edit on weekends, so why not do an editing stream, a podcast editing stream? So I can show you a little bit of my processes and what I do and such. It might be a fun little thing to do together. You'll also see my desktop, which is probably less exciting, but we will get there. We will do what we can. So usually I edit the podcast for about an hour. I don't usually need more because the episodes are fairly short. Um, so this stream is probably going to last about an hour. Maybe we'll play a game after. I don't know. But to play a game, I would have to switch to another computer to my PC, and to do that, I will probably have to turn off the live stream. So maybe not. Right. So I can see that my camera sometimes flickers. I hope it stays. I'm streaming from my Mac, not from my Windows, because I usually stream games from my Windows, but I edit the podcast on my Mac. So anyway, let's move into here the desktop streaming. I don't know what I'm streaming. What the hell am I streaming? Desktop capture. What is it? Oh yeah, because of Stage Manager, isn't it? Stage Manager is no, actually. What the hell? What is it capturing? Oh, it's capture. Why is it capturing the video to full screen? That is very strange. Can we switch to another one? I don't know. What's going on? That's interesting. Desktop capture, display capture, window capture. And we do okay. Application capture, display capture. Oh, okay. It's fixed. I have no idea what was going on, but yeah, it looks like yeah, for some reason it was just capturing the video. But the video that I was watching. But anyway, so let me just test the desktop audio because actually I feel like there should be yeah, audio here. What was going on, but that you guys can hear. I don't know if you can. You guys can hear. I don't know if you can. You guys can hear. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So I think you guys can actually hear the desktop audio, which is going to be super important for the purpose of this. So all right. How does it work? So every single time I have to edit a new episode of the show, here's a little bit of an overview of what's coming up. Nothing super huge, but there's this is my editing software. This is where I keep all of the episodes, all of the recordings that I do, and I always record in video. The videos go to my Patreons, but the audio is what ends up on the actual episodes. So I'm going to start by downloading the tracks, then I'll put them into my Logic template. Then I think I will try to record a brief intro, which to do that, I will probably have to turn off the Yeti, the sorry, the microphone here in OBS, but we'll see what happens. Of course, this is going to be a very chill stream. Just hang out and chat, ask questions. Feel free to be with me and keep me company. So I have edited the Poison Pill Games episode. The next one on my list is and this is stuff for my novel, so ignore that. The next thing on my list is here in my lovely little Notion page where I keep all of my upcoming guests. I might want to hide some of the next ones, but there's a lot of planning that goes into this. So Ian Lynch from Jaggy Snake Games is supposed to be in the next one that has an interview complete, and I haven't edited yet because then I've got the next one already scheduled for next week. So what I think we can do here is go into Jaggy Snake Games, which is over here. There we go. And then what I usually do is just download the recording. So I'm going to download the recordings, everything here in high quality raw audio. Always download the highest quality, and then align audio for the media board sounds, which is the little song that I put at the beginning when I'm asking the prologue questions. So now these tracks are over here. I've got my little system of folders that I suppose I can show you here with all the episodes and such. And this is going to be episode number 75, I believe. Yes, 75. So I'm going to create a new folder. We're going to call it 75 Jaggy Snake Games. Nothing confidential here in the folder structure and whatnot. Maybe, project names, but who cares at this point? Nothing sensitive for sure. So Jaggy Snake Games, here we go. And then I will simply go into my downloads folder where you might see some other stuff, but I will just keep it short. And here we go. I've got the 3 clips. Now, to make things easier, I always set up a little template that is this one over here, which has my intro already in place, has the outro already in place, and then I just have to fill the guest and my own track. So the way it works is I'll simply copy this one into here, rename it something like 75 Jaggy Snake Games Project. Then I will open it and I will start working on the actual episode. And from here, things get pretty fun because this is the actual episode editing bit that I always do just in Logic. Yeah, so here we go. So we have the 3 tracks. I import mine first. There, just aligned to about the end of the intro. Then I put in the guest aligned with me, and Riverside is really good at doing that. I can already see here that there's a little bit of line noise. This might be a pain unless I can isolate this one with a noise gate. We'll have to see. But I think, what was the name of... Oh, Ian. Yeah, okay. So I always like to put the name of the guest over here. Then there's my track, there's the intro. Okay, great. Right, so I can already see that this episode is quite short, about 30 minutes, so I can already start moving things like the outro closer to the end, and then reduce the total length of the episode, because it's most definitely not going over that. It's definitely going under that. So we've got that. And okay, so now we are basically ready. So I'm going to be recording a brief intro for which I might just pop a B right back there. But yeah, actually, first of all, let me see. What did we exactly talk about? Because it was a while ago. So if I go back into the project here, which is Jaggy Snake Games, the recordings are there, but the clips that Riverside made, Pong Meets Zelda. Oh, yes, I remember this one now. With subjectivity in game design. First game low and underrated picks. Pong Meets Bullet Hell. It's a nice concept, actually. Jaggy Snake Games, the guy that came for this show, came over for this show, is founded by Ian Lynch, who's formerly a CD Projekt Red, Scopely, and Donkey Crew developer. Questing is their debut title, and Questing is indeed Questing game. Questing is indeed a little game that blends or wants to blend Bullet Hell with Pong mechanics. So you can see there's a little bit of it there. There isn't a demo just yet. The planned release date is 2026, but it is there. You can see like there's bullets flying at you, and to defeat monsters, you just bounce back bullets essentially. Which I thought was very unique. So that's why I agreed. I think he was the one that got in touch. Oh, Expedition is on discount. I played it on Game Pass, so I might just buy it because I have to 100% it, and I want it for the long run, so yeah. Anyway, questing is this. Now, let me just double check one thing, because sometimes I have noticed my camera gets weird. Yeah, it gets all blurred. I don't know why. Must be like some problem here on the Mac. Let me just adjust it a little. There we go, and reset it to 1080p. Here we go. It might also be Riverside. I have no idea. I'll be completely honest. Not Riverside, sorry, OBS. But now you should see me crisp again. I don't know for how long though. That's the main problem. Anyway, we got Riverside here. We got Logic open. So now the actual editing process starts, and it usually takes me about an hour to edit these, not longer. These episodes are usually quite short, so I'm able to edit as much as I possibly can within 1 hour, and I do the whole thing in one sitting because I like to feel complete. So now let me just switch my tools here. I should resave the template for that. Okay, so the first thing I always do is record an intro. I always record like a brief intro where I thank my Patreons, and I usually do it in one take. It doesn't take me long now that I'm used to it. So let me just... what I will do is I will actually keep you here. I don't know if I can use the microphone at the same time. Well, it looks like I can. I might just do it, actually. So let me see. We got the audio here. Of course, you can hear pretty loud music. In fact, let me just lower it for you guys so that you can still hear me when I talk. Okay. Okay. So I've got a little automation here that you can see, like a little downscale of the volume that goes down. And this is where I usually start talking with the intro. So I will now plug into the end's track and just do a very brief generic intro, just shouting out to the guest and my Patreons and social channels and whatnot. It won't take me long, so let me just get started with that. And let's see if it actually works if I'm streaming at the same time. It should be, but we will find out, I suppose. Alright, hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Indie Diarist podcast, a show on the human stories behind indie game development. This is your loyal Indie Diarist and host Anthony L. Wolf, and this is Indie Diary number 75 with Jaggy Snake Games. And I believe Ian got in touch to be featured on the show, and I kindly said yes because, you know, the concept for this game is very unique, and you will find out as we talk about it during the episode. But before we get into it, I want to shout out to my amazing Patreons who are Zagini, Fishbone Dev, and Peleg. You guys are incredible, and I love supporting you. Actually, I made a mistake there because Zagini is not a Patreon anymore, still a supporter, but I might need to edit that one out. Before we get into it, I want... Okay, so actually, it sounds pretty good. So I think this is possible. So I'm going to do a cut there, and I'm going to reattach myself to it. Let's see, as we talk about it during the episode. But before we get into it, I want to shout out to my Patreons who are Fishbump Dev and Peleg. Thank you so much, guys. You're amazing, and I love having your support every single month. You've been longtime supporters of the show ever since I opened the Patreon, and I really, really appreciate that. So listeners, if you too want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/theindiediarist and find out about my amazing tiers which start all from as little as £1.25 per month and give you access to episodes in advance and stuff like that, and a lot more, also exclusive content and whatnot. You can also go on theindiediarist.com where you can find links to my socials and other ways to support me. But now, without further ado, let's get into Indie Diary number 75. And I would usually, and that is done, basically, that is the intro. I will do the same thing for the outro, basically. I realized at some point that I was off camera because I was getting closer to the microphone, so I had to do a bit of improvising there to move the webcam. But then, at this point, I will just simply, I would say... apologies, I just had lunch, so I will be a little gassy. Not that I'm proud of it. I will try to suppress it as much as possible. Yeah, so this is basically the process of the intro. I've recorded the intro, now I'll listen to it just to make sure that I haven't said anything stupid. Alright, hello everybody and welcome to a new episode. Also, actually, a few seconds before, just so I can see the transition with the audio and whatnot. Alright, hello everybody. Good, yeah, that's welcome fine. To a new episode of the Indie Diarist podcast, a show on the human stories behind indie game development. This is your loyal Indie Diarist and host Anthony L. Wolf. Fine, that's okay. During the episode. But before... Okay, so there's a little pause there that is felt because here there was a little bit of time before I started talking, so I think what I will do is simply move this one slightly to the left, and that should help. Maybe I will need to introduce a little bit of silence in the episode. But before we get... Yeah, this is too abrupt, for example. So I will probably move it slightly, so there's a tiny pause, and then during the episode. But before we... Okay, this is more natural. Shout out to my Patreons who are Fishbump Dev and Peleg. Thank you so much, guys. You're amazing, and I love having your support every single month. Now, in these cases, you can see when the audio here gets a little lower, it's because I was looking away from the microphone to make sure that I wasn't going over my allotted time, and I was going to finish by the time I got to the end of the intro. So unfortunately, those bits will stay as they are, but it's not a big deal. I mean, it's just a slightly lower volume. Having your support every single, and also it bounces back, so it's okay. Month, you've been longtime supporters of the show ever since I opened the Patreon, and I really, really appreciate that. So listeners, if you too want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/theindieDiarist and find out about my amazing tiers, which start all from as little as £1.25. A little bit of a grammar error there, but that's all right. Give you access to episodes in advance and stuff like that, and a lot more. Also exclusive content and stuff like that, and a lot more. Yeah, this is a little episodes in advance. Okay, so I think I will have to cut this bit. Stuff like that, and okay, so I will cut stuff like that and keep a lot more. Also, is this gonna work? Yes. Okay. So I've got a little shortcut on a little hotkey on my mouse where I press one button and it does ripple delete, which means it deletes the clip that I've highlighted, but also removes all the white space and pushes everything together, which is super handy when working on these things. Let's see. And a lot more fans and a lot more also exclusive content and whatnot. You can also go on indieDiarist.com where you can find links to my socials and other ways to. Bit of a big pause there. Not. But the problem is, now this is a little problem of balance here, because if I remove this space, I'm going to finish the intro too early to actually connect well to the end of the music. I can test it, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a problem there. Not. You can also go on indieDiarist.com where you can find links to my socials and other ways to support me. But now, without further ado, let's get into Indie Diary number 75. I'm gonna say it's not too bad, actually. I think I'm gonna make a call and feel like this is going to be okay. There's not a lot of silence. Number 75. And the music starts going up when I finish talking. So I think it's okay. Right, so I'll keep it as it is, actually. I think the intro is done, great, and now it's about editing the actual episode. Now, the first thing that I will usually do is isolate the guest track and clean up any background noise, any problems, any line noise, any interference and whatnot. So let's see what it is. Yeah, that's pretty, I mean, you can't really hear it, but that's pretty bad white noise. Camera needs to stay up. That's pretty bad white noise. This is going to be very, very annoying for listeners on the other end. So what I'm going to do is apply a little noise gate here, which is already applied. I already have it on this track as a default, but I'm going to crank it up to about minus 35 decibels. And I think that's going to sort it. Not quite. Okay. So it has to be 32 decibel. Okay. Okay, completely silent now. I don't get any weird peaks or spikes in terms of the white noise. It's occasional, it might be fine, but actually it's completely silent. Now, the thing that worries me here is that minus 32 decibels is usually a bit too close to the human voice, to our voice, which means this might be cutting on the moments when Ian speaks with a lower tone, or when it's just starting to speak, and there might be some unnatural cutting there. But let's see what happens. So, okay, so the noise in the background is sorted. Now let's see what happens here when Ian starts speaking.
Sure, thanks for having me. So I am Ian Lynch. I am a writer and narrative designer.
You can see here the problem, like exactly.
Narrative designer, been in the industry.
Yeah. So you can see the problem here, because here it probably said something like within.
Been in the industry.
But this little pause here is cut completely because of the noise gate. So maybe I'll crank it down a little bit, I'll lower it slightly.
A writer and narrative designer, been in the industry since 2018.
That's not bad, okay. The problem now is that we still have this kind of white noise. So I think the best solution here is, because there are quite a few silences, and it was a conversation, but it was a lot more of an exchange, like a back and forth. I think I can safely remove all of the silences manually. The noise gate is going to help for some of those moments, but for the most part, I'm gonna have to do it this way. Now, the problem is that I cannot.
Thanks for having me. So I am Ian Lynch. I am a writer.
I cannot, unfortunately. Oh. Will be you by 15:25. Yeah, that's totally fine. Oh, by the way, I'm waiting for my groceries. So at some point I might have to be right back and just technical issues to be with you, but I will update you. Okay, well it's running late anyway, so we should be okay. Oh my god, he's editing. Yes, I am. Hello, hello, hello. So I don't recognize your username. Please state your Discord username if you come from Discord. If not, hello. Nice to have you here. I think you might be QuipScore, maybe. The top fan's #1. Okay, well, thank you. Well, you're now my top fan. You are QuipScore. Hello, QuipScore. Hi, nice to have you here. Yes, I'm editing. I thought maybe I can stream these sessions a little bit more, because it's I never showed anybody my process, and also it's nice to have like you guys in chat. If someone comes in and wants to have a little chat, it's going to be a like very nice and cozy little stream. Basically, I'm going to be the pirate software podcasts. No, I'm joking. But and I also already have a voice that is kind of deep by default, so I don't have to fake it. Anyway, let's see. So I was playing around with the guest track because it has a little bit of white noise, as you can hear. Maybe 33. Yeah, 33 actually gets rid of it completely. Okay, so I was able to do that, but now the problem is that sometimes.
Thanks for having me. So
whenever Ian makes a pause in his speech, now the problem is that that pause is going to be very much heard because he has.
I am Ian Lynch. I am a writer and narrative designer.
I'm going to lower the volume of the track actually, because it's otherwise you won't hear me speaking.
If that's correct, if I'm doing the math correctly.
But you can hear that little white noise in the background, and the white noise in the background is very annoying because I can't remove it. I have no way of removing it. I don't have a noise canceling filter on Logic. I don't think it's Logic doesn't use AI, doesn't implement AI yet. Maybe it will one day. But I don't have a way to clean this track from all the background noise that is the white noise. My track is clean, hopefully.
I'm doing the math correctly.
But to you say a few things about yourself. Now, what matters is that there is a little bit of a back and forth, and it feels okay. So when I talk, it's clean. Feature any game developer that comes my way and has an interesting story to tell. So my track is actually clean. His track has a bit of background noise. I can't do much about that. What I can do is remove the background noise, the white noise, when he's not speaking. And as you can see here, is and actually I could actually blow this up to full screen, so it's easier for you guys to see. Be a bit more. No. So as you can see, it's completely going down now, but it's completely silent now on Ian's track when he's not speaking. And that is good enough, I would say. Now, the problem is that is still going to have the white noise on his track, but there's not much I can do about that, so I think I'm going to leave it as it is. Another thing that I'm going to check is the equalizer. I think equalizer-wise, his voice is fine. It has, I mean, it doesn't have it doesn't sound too low, doesn't have too many bass, doesn't have too much treble, it doesn't sound too bright. So I feel like he had a decent microphone without a noise gate, unfortunately, but he had a decent microphone that captured his voice really well. In terms of volume, maybe there's something I can do. So feels like is a bit louder than me, so maybe I will not need the limiter in this case, but chances are I might, because these Riverside for some reason isn't great at let's see. there's a bit of a volume imbalance here, as you can see. So I will use the limiter and crank up the gain a little bit. Just there.
So I am Ian Lynch.
What you do, where you're based. Okay, that feels about the same level. But I don't mind if my guest is a little bit louder than me. So I think this should do it. You're working on right now.
Sure, thanks for having me. So I am
Can be a slightly louder, I think. 6 decibel is fine.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Based and what you're working on right now.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Yeah, okay.
So
I think this volume works. So, what I'm going to do is delete every possible instance of white noise that I see that seems to be annoying or that is super long. Like that segment I won't touch, but this segment I might, just to have a little bit more cleanliness in the track. I will not delete it from me because my track is completely silent when I am not speaking, thanks to my beautiful noise gate there. Yeah, nothing at all. And now the editing actually starts. So I've prepared the guest track, I've prepared my track, we are all good. So now the editing can actually start. So the way I typically do it is I don't listen to the entire episode. Because that's half an hour, but usually it turns into 2 hours because otherwise, yeah. But usually I remember key bits that I want to cut out from the conversation that I had. In this case, there were none. What I will do is I will skim through it. I will listen roughly to my questions, to how long my section is, try to introduce a bit of balance, but it's a bit more of a let's say a audio management job rather than listening to the whole thing and making cuts, because I don't go into sentence by sentence making the cuts for the podcast, just because one is very time consuming and I don't really have that much time to dedicate to the show every week, and two, it's because I don't feel that is natural. Like, it doesn't feel like a natural conversation. What I want with these episodes is to make them feel like a natural conversation. So I will keep as much as possible of the natural pauses and the ums and the that. But if it's too long of a silence, I will usually cut it out. You'll see what I mean as I go. But for now, for example, what I will do now that the editing can start, there was a little bit of silence on my end here. I'm going to cut that one, and I'm going to use a little shortcut to highlight everything and move it slightly to the back. So now the episode should start in a more timely manner. Let's see. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Indie Diarist podcast. This is your loyal Indie Diarist and host, Anthony L. Wolf. There was a little slip up there, which I usually remove, so let's see. Indie Diarist and host, and Indie Diarist podcast. This is your loyal Indie Diarist. Indie Diarist. Don't know what I was saying there. Because this is your loyal Indie Diarist. Okay, so I kind of have to find it. Okay, great. It's fine. With me today is Ian Lynch. I suppose I'm saying your name correctly, Ian. I hope so. He got in touch very kindly to be featured on the show, and of course, as you know, I love to feature any game developer that comes my way and has an interesting story to tell. And in fact, if I
you
do.
want to also be featured, feel free to email Anthony at theindiediarist.com.
This is a new thing that I did for this episode, and I kind of like how it came out, because I am, instead of putting it at the end in the outro, I am saying it at the beginning. I'm saying, okay, get in touch at Anthony at theindiediarist.com if you want to be featured, before going into the episode even. So it just sets the mood in a different way, and it opens, because I don't know how many people stick around for the outro. That's the thing. I know that a lot of people trail off after a while. And they most certainly don't stay up until the very last second of the show. Around the time when the guest talks about his links and where people can find him, that's when people start to go off. So I don't think a lot of people listen to the outro. In fact, I don't even know why I keep recording them, but I will keep doing it for now. Maybe I'll change my mind next year. But yeah, that means that they will never get to the last bit when I say, if you have an interesting story to tell, get in touch, because I would love to feature you on the show. So by leaving it at the beginning, hopefully people will hear it more. And if there's new people that find me and they listen to the show, maybe they'll be like, "Oh yeah, right, might want to be featured." That said, I have episodes until November now, so I really hope that they don't do that. But because I would have to say I would never say no, but I would have to say yes, but in the new year or in December, which it's a little bit sad, honestly. Well, not for me because I've got a lot of content, but definitely sad for them because they might want to be featured sooner. Yeah, that's quite a lot. I know, and some of them. I mean, I shouldn't show all the names that I have in mind for the upcoming schedule, but let's say I've got a lot. In fact, let me just do a very quick thing. If I can just show you without showing you the names. Coming episodes, yeah, we got them there, and I can unfreeze the columns. Okay, all right. So I've got 80. I've got it up to episode 82, which is on the 3rd of November. Hopefully, some of these people might cancel, some of these people might fall off. There's one very big guest who told me, "Oh, get back in touch in September. I will have more time." Who knows? Might be that she doesn't actually have more time in September, and so we don't actually record. And at that point, I will lose an episode. But at least until October, I do have episodes ready. And that is both good and bad for people who want to be featured now. And it's usually like that. Usually I am working like 1 month in advance, 2 months in advance at the best of times. In this case, when I started looking for people who wanted to be featured on the show, more people showed up. And then more people showed up on the side during summer. And so I found myself with a lot of possible guests. And again, I don't turn down anybody. So here we are. Anyway, let's keep going. So we are here, and say a few things about yourself. What? No, Alexa, stop. I don't know what she heard. She just put on Amazon Music, but I don't know what song it was even. And what you were also why I set Spotify as my default service. That whatever. Working on right now.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Okay, there's a bit of a long silence there. But I think that's because, oh yeah, no, I know why. It's because I moved my track. And maybe I didn't, oh yeah, because I deleted that bit and I didn't move the rest. So I'm going to just realign everything. Okay, so there should be okay. Right now.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Now that's too soon. It doesn't feel natural. What you do, where you're based, and what you're working on right now.
Sure, thanks for having me. So I am Ian Lynch. I am a writer and narrative designer. Been in the industry since 2018, if that's correct. If I'm doing the math.
Okay, there's a good thing here. The thing is that, as I mentioned earlier, the noise gate might cut on the moments when he's speaking with a lower tone of voice, but actually here it seems fine.
2018.
You can hear the if, and the if is very feeble because it's the beginning of a sentence, and it's the beginning of a sentence when the guest was like thinking. So his tone of voice wasn't exactly as high as the rest of the track, and you can still hear it. So I'm fairly confident that this setting of the noise gate is going to preserve most of his voice. If it doesn't, I should spot it, and I will tweak it there.
If that's correct. If I'm
That's fine though.
Okay. And more recently, I am the founder and creative director at Jaggy Snake Games, which is my own little tiny indie studio.
Interesting. So here I heard him inhale as well. Okay, that means the noise gate is working well. It's capturing all of the frequencies of his voice that I need, including the little pauses and inhales and whatnot. So it doesn't feel unnatural when he's not speaking, and there's like a sudden cut. But it's also cutting out the white noise in the background when he's silent. So this should work well.
Where we're working on our first game at the moment.
So I'm fairly confident that for the rest of this episode and for this track, his track is going to be fairly clean. Now it's about cleaning up the spaces, the silences, and the things that I can probably adjust a little. So let's see where we get to. I know you're based in Dublin, so probably you're feeling the heat wave as much as I am. Damn the heat.
Might not have been wise to schedule an episode during a heat wave, but what did we know about a month ago? So
Yeah.
Ah.
I'm Irish.
Anyway.
I'm struggling, but we'll get through it.
Yeah,
We'll
great.
get through it. I'm here in London and it's absolutely boiling. I'm also in a flat that retains heat very well, so it's not.
Oh, I forgot to import the third track actually, which is the music. Here we go. So I'm going to import it here for now. So the background music is for when I do the quiz show segment. Like at the beginning of the episode, there's the prologue segment where I ask about 10 questions in 60 seconds. And Ian actually was able to get through all of them, I think, if I remember right. I think, if I remember correctly. But let's see. Sorry, I went to bed at 3 a.m. yesterday to watch a video. That wasn't a smart idea. Here we go. That's done. And I can cut all the rest because that's not needed. This is the quiz show music, and I will keep it low, I think. I never quite adjust it too much, but what I will do, I'll keep it there. And I don't think it starts there. It might start a little sooner. 3 a.m. is the best time for bed. Yeah, no, I mean I can't argue with that. I played a bit of Party Animals yesterday. Yeah, I still play that. I think my goal for that game right now is getting to the end of the Cthulhu battle pass, which is level 21, and I'm like level 18. So it's definitely doable, and I've got like 30 days left before the season ends. But I really want the Cthulhu cultist skin. It's so cute and beautiful. And then I will probably drop the game or play it with friends and whatnot. At this point, I dumped 23 hours into it just to get a Cthulhu skin. But I'm not shopping for it. I'm not paying for that skin. I've already paid for the game. So yeah, but it's very cute though. And it's nice. Sometimes maybe I don't know. I'm waiting for my girlfriend to come online for on Discord so we can maybe watch something together and whatnot. And there's maybe she's getting ready, half an hour, whatever. I can play Party Animals, and that's what I did yesterday. I played that, then I watched some Big Bang Theory with her, and then when I went to bed, I just got lost watching videos about game development or this channel, Healthy Gamer. I don't know if you know it, Quivscore, but this guy um, um, this guy is a psychologist. He did a session with Pirate Software, which is what I was interested about because that's when you actually see the personality of Thor coming through. Because I'm still not sure about him. I mean, I've been following him here and there. I knew him. I knew him when he got big, and I started following him then. And he did say a lot of interesting things at the time, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool. But also there was something about him that rubbed me the wrong way. Maybe I felt a little bit of arrogance, or I felt like maybe he could have had a very bad take at some point, but he never did. At least not in the shorts that I saw. He always seemed to have very level-headed opinions and such. But then all of this shit show that's happening to him and all of that, it's kind of making me reconsider my opinion because I'm like, okay, well, there's definitely something that this guy needs to work on. But I don't necessarily blame him for it, especially after the chat with the Dr. K there from Healthy Gamer. And I don't think I blame him. I think it's the guy just needs to work on himself a little and learn to take accountability or learn to communicate with others in a specific way when something happens. Yeah, Dr. K is awesome. I'm learning to love his channel. It's also very qualified, super professional. That whole session, my girlfriend is a neuropsychologist, or she's working to be a neuropsychologist. And I sent it to her because I think Thor may have some narcissistic traits, and I think it's interesting to see how Dr. K is handling that throughout the whole conversation, how he's trying to not trigger his emotional response, and at the same time, you know, help him, give him some advice that he most definitely needs. So yeah, I'm like 3 hours into it, about 40 minutes away from the end, and it's such an interesting session. And yeah, but I got lost watching that video and some other videos from Healthy Gamer and Dr. K. And I'll probably watch more. I think is really amazing. But yeah, let's keep going here.
Speed dating section, which is not do it. Okay, so I'm going to also add a little bit of a background music for you. Just
Okay, but I'm not convinced because this segment was a little long with me talking. I never like it when I am talking for too long. I hate it when I'm talking for too long because I feel like, it's, I feel like I'm really putting myself before the guest. I know I shouldn't feel that way, possibly, um, because I'm the host of the show and I'm talking to these guests. But the episodes are never about me. They should never be about me. They should be about them. So if I end up talking for too long, I feel like it shifts the attention from them and from what I feel is interesting about each episode. And I know that I'm a rambler. I know that I'm a yapper. I know that I can sometimes talk for long. Oh, someone's calling me. It might be my groceries. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, so my groceries have come. They shouldn't have been here so soon, so I will be back momentarily. I will put a little bit of background music. It might be about. Actually, I can be here for the next, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, but I'll have to go and come back and whatnot because I have to open the door indeed. So I'll be right back. Okey-dokey. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think you can still hear me, even though there's the music. Music might be very loud right now. But yeah, I'm basically here. I'm just opening the doors for the guy, and I'll set the groceries. Actually, I'll just set the fridge first, because that's the most delicate stuff, and I'll be back. So yeah. All right, I'm back. Thank you for staying. Oh, you don't hear music. Oh, god damn it. There should have been music. Well. Anyway. We are back. Okay, thank you for waiting if you're still there, but it looks like you are because we've got still the viewer count. Okay. Yeah, I got the groceries. Everything is fine and good. I like to get them delivered. It's useful. Oh wait, let me just. It's like 21 degrees, but it still feels damn hot. There's not one gust of wind. And it's raining, but technically the temperatures are supposed to go down now, so well, we'll have to see, I suppose. Okay, let's keep going. Ah, you are. Hello, hello. Nice. I'll send a little heart. So your number one fan, like a top fan with 75 XP. That is interesting. I think because you appeared on other streams before, might be. Okay. Right, so we were over here.
Ready for this little speed dating section, which is
Yeah, funny how that happened.
exactly speed dating.
Deep breath. Yeah. I'm centered. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, I was talking about this section that.
Well, it's not the prettiest outlook for me, but we'll get there. It's fine. We will manage. So, as you know, as I mentioned, we have a little.
Okay, it's just.
These episodes are like a theme, and we can within 60 seconds. Let's see how.
Oh, that's fine. That's a good introduction. I think it works.
Yeah. I'm centered. Let's do it.
Center. Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to also add a little bit of a background music for you, just to make things a little bit more fun.
Nice.
It will feel like a quiz show. So, what's the first game you ever fell in love with?
Okay, so I think I can put the music here because now it starts.
Fell in love with.
I think the first game that really changed my life was.
You can't really hear the music. Interesting. Okay.
What's the first game you?
Oh, that's why.
Oh. What's the first game you ever fell in love with?
I think the.
Okay, I think I can do a little crescendo here. Make it very loud, and then it just suddenly goes down when he starts to talk.
You ever fell in love? Dating section, which is not exactly speed dating, but yeah.
Deep breath. I'm centered. Let's do it.
Perfect. Let's do it. Okay, so.
Okay, I think this one.
I think the first game that really changed my life.
What's the first game you ever fell in love with?
That's. Oh, because my volume is all screwed up. Wait.
Feel like a quiz show. So, what's the first game you ever fell in love with?
I think the first game that.
Ah,
really
perfect
changed my life
transition. Okay.
was Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Well, that's a good one. Okay, what's the most underrated game everyone needs to play? This might get you thinking a little.
Immortality by Sam Barlow and his
Good
team.
one. Okay, okay.
Immortality.
What's a pleasure game, something you love but know isn't perfect.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't have a real guilty pleasure.
It's
Oh,
alright.
damn.
We can skip this. We can skip this. Pitch your game in one sentence.
And the music.
It is a satirical love letter to classic 16-bit adventure games.
Beautiful. Okay, and if you could only play one genre for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh,
Bit of a long pause there. I know it's during the game show segment, but I like to still shorten it a little.
One genre for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Still too long.
Rest of your life, what would it be?
oh. I guess action RPGs. I guess
Okay.
That makes sense. And if you could be a game character for a day, who would you be?
Commander Shepard, of course.
Commander Shepard,
Lastly, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Depends on the restaurant.
Why did I close off the music there? Well, good. That gives me a chance to shorten this one.
Lastly, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Depends on the restaurant.
Okay, I'll take that. I suppose.
I think that's fine as an end. I don't know why. Maybe maybe in this case I started the music while he was answering, or when I had stopped asking the first question, which means the music is slightly shorter than it's supposed to be, but it's okay.
I'm
It's a
Italian,
non-answer.
I'm Italian, so I'm obligated to answer that. But yeah, I've heard an interesting argument recently that the Domino style of pineapple on pizza is
Here we
actually
talk about
higher
pineapple on
than
pizza,
the
but
Italian style of making pizza. So that's acceptable there. But if you try to do like an Italian style pizza and dump some pineapple on it, probably not a good idea. And I think I do resonate with
I
that.
will die on this hill, by the way.
I've never tried Domino's pizza because yeah, I do feel
Ah, yes, the primordial sin. Yes, indeed. The primordial sin.
Domino's pizza because
Here I say I never tried Domino's pizza. It is true.
with that
The silence there is because I think it's shit. But I can't really say it without trying it, right?
Domino's pizza because
Silence.
yeah, I do feel like doing it. So
I don't feel like doing it was my justification there. But I think I think I can cut this bit about Domino. Not the whole pizza thing, but maybe the Domino bit.
with that said, I've never
Without that said, yeah, from there.
with that said,
Okay, yeah, I think it adds fluff, but it's not
yeah, I do feel like doing it.
okay, and we reconnect here. So here's where this keyboard shortcut comes in handy. Boom. Deleted the clip, remove the white space, ripple delete in video editing if you're familiar with that. So that's the same feature. It's so cool.
With that. So yeah,
I mean, it depends on the restaurant, and
and I think I do resonate with that. So yeah,
I mean, it depends on the restaurant, and ideally, it depends on how many beers you've had as well.
I see where you're going.
Okay, yeah, well,
Great. Well,
fair enough.
to be fair, we finished it.
Anything about audio's black magic to me? Oh yeah.
1 minute sharp.
It's an art, but it's an art that like anything can be learned. Like in this case, for the guest track, I've got a channel EQ which I'm not really using because it's completely flat and I don't need for him, so I'll probably turn it off. And then I've got the noise gate which deletes the background noise, and then the limiter. That's all I have. The limiter actually is a little trick that I use to raise their volume when they're speaking too quietly. And you'd be surprised, a lot of guests speak too quietly on this show, not because of them or their microphones, because of something that I think happens with Riverside. Like Riverside doesn't capture the audio properly or something. It's statistically impossible that 99% of my guests have a terrible volume when I get their track. I don't know why that happens, and the only thing that I can think of is Riverside fucks it up. I have no other explanation for it. Except him, for example, he was okay, but he had a good microphone, and he was probably speaking very close to the microphone. I think Riverside doesn't do very well if you're using a crappy microphone. And the problem is that a lot of my guests are game developers. They're not content creators, so they're not going to have a decent microphone to record stuff most of the time. So I have to make do with what I have, and usually that means playing around with the equalizer a little bit, changing some frequencies and such. This track is relatively easy, so there's no drama here. But usually I would use at least these three. But then there's a lot more plugins here, but a lot of them are for, music. There's a delay, there's distortion, there's dynamics. I could apply like a reverb to my voice to make it sound deeper. I don't know. There's the pitch correction, which I suppose is a sort of auto-tune pitch shifter. Like if I applied the pitch shifter to my own track, for example, my track doesn't have any plugins or anything because I don't usually modify it. I don't change my voice. I don't change how it sounds. I don't change all the audio bits are on my microphone. Like I use Logitech G Hub. You can see it here. You can see it here though. I use Logitech G Hub, and it has voice effects for the microphone, and I just tweaked everything there so that I don't have to reset everything every time I go into like a different software. So if I'm recording, if I'm streaming, if I'm in chat with other people, if I'm on Discord, you will always hear me the same way. If I applied those effects here, it would only be limited to Discord, to Logic. So there's that. But that means I don't have to apply anything to my to my track. But if I had to apply, if I were to apply like a pitch shifter, oh no, I put a pitch correction. Let me change it into a pitch shifter. This is what is going to happen. I'm changing it by 7 semitones.
With that. So, yeah.
I mean, it depends.
I see where you're going for there. Okay, great.
Well, to be fair, we finished at 1 minute sharp, and we went through all of the questions that I had to ask you. So congratulations, we did it. It went very smoothly.
I had
I
one
suppose-
skip that I'm not happy about.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you can have fun with. And if I put it at like 50% mix, it's going to be like part my voice, part the pitch voice.
I see where you're going for there. Okay.
I don't know what you would use this for, honestly. Looks like you can apply it to vocals. I think it's to correct your pitch. Like if you're maybe in some segments of a song, maybe you're slightly off pitch. And so a sound designer in studio might tweak your voice so that you're always in tune. But that's the only thing that I can think of. And if they keep the 50% mix, that means, like, for example, if I'm off just by one semitone, I did a little bit of music as well, so I kind of know what this is playing with.
I see where you're going for there. Okay, great.
But see, like here, if you have like a 50% mix or a 75% mix, you get a little bit of electronic effect and whatnot on your vocals, but
We finished it.
you also get a little bit of reverb though, which, oh no, because there's a delay. But like you also get a little bit of reverb.
We finished at 1 minute sharp, and we went through all.
This is what it would sound if my voice were a bit more bright, which is what I had in my teens. I think it was kind of like that. But now, I mean, if I lower it, how is it gonna sound?
Yeah, no, okay, I see where you're going. Okay, great. Well, to be fair, we finished at 1 minute sharp. All the questions that I had to ask you, so
Well, I mean, a -1 semitone is going to still sound pretty natural. That one wasn't, but this one.
Okay, I see where you're going for there. Okay, great. Well, to be fair, we finished at 1.
I don't know. I sound like a gorilla or something. It's weird. Anyway, this was a very brief look into what you can do with audio plugins, and it's a lot of fun when you know what you're playing with, but it takes a bit of practice. For podcasts, it's much easier. Usually, you just have to play with dynamics, play with like maybe the noise gate limiter, volumes, and basically you're done. Unless you're doing something super complicated, but I don't know why you would do that. I don't know why you would add reverb, for example. But it makes it sound fuller, maybe the voice. I suppose it does, but like if I added reverb to my voice, what would it do?
Probably not a good idea, and I think I do.
You see, I mean, it feels like I'm in a room with echo. I don't see a reason for doing that unless you're working on like film stuff. In that case, yeah. But in podcasts, why would I do that? Of course, there are different types of reverb, and that is just one example. But yeah, that is just to tell you that if you ever want to open a podcast, you don't have to know a lot to do it. So yeah. Anyway,
There,
Go
but
on.
if you try to do like an Italian style pizza and dump some pineapple on it,
funny because you hear absolutely nothing from Logic Pro.
probably not a good idea.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I thought you were hearing the whole thing. Okay, let me see if I can fix that, because you should be able to hear it. macOS audio capture. Desktop audio. Oh, desktop AV. I'll call it that way. Desktop audio capture. Yeah. I honestly don't know why, because the desktop capture technically has audio as well. Tell me if you hear something now. There, but if you try to do like an Italian style pizza and dump some. Did you hear something there? Oh, okay. So the desktop capture is only video, and the audio capture tool is audio. But it's strange, because in the mixer, I have the desktop capture mixer voice that actually has audio when I am streaming. Okay, well, I'll hide this one. Okay, so this is the actual desktop audio. Okay, great. Yeah, no, I was playing around with my pitch. That's the pitch shifter. This is what happened. just very quickly to show you what I did and why it was so funny.
Acceptable there, but if you try to do like an Italian style pizza and dump some pineapple on it, probably not a good idea. And I think I do resonate with that.
That's an example of pitch shift. And the other way around, you hear nothing again? Oh, wait. What if I do this?
Acceptable there, but if you try to do like an Italian style pizza and dump some pineapple on
You hear now? Well, now I hear. Okay, so maybe the volume was a bit too low. I thought it was okay, but all right.
that's acceptable there, but if you try to do like an Italian style pizza and dump some pineapple on it, probably not a good idea.
You still hear, right?
And I think I do resonate.
I will remove this pitch shifter because it's ridiculous, but but yeah, okay. Well, it looks like it was a volume problem. Maybe it was a bit too low, and OBS said that you should have heard, but apparently you didn't. Okay, that's fine. An Italian style pizza and dump some pineapple on it. Probably not a good idea. In fact, let me open my own stream and let me check that this audio is being heard. Content, live, editing day. Go to the editing day.
Yeah, and I think I do resonate.
Okay, so maybe the volume was a bit.
And I think I do resonate.
Okay, yeah, no, it seems to be working still. All right, okay, good. That's fine. Right, so maybe, yeah, it was my bad then. My volume was too low, and probably on the other device as well. So it's okay. It should be fixed now. And I think I do resonate with that. So yeah.
I mean, it depends on the restaurant, and ideally it depends on how many beers you've had as well.
Yeah, no, okay. I see where you're going for there. Okay, great. Well, to be fair, we finished at 1 minute sharp, and we went through all of the questions that I had to ask you. So congratulations, we did it. It went very smoothly.
I had one skip that I'm not happy about. I'm gonna, like, my guilty pleasure, that's gonna be stuck in my head now for the rest of the interview.
Well, I mean, guilty pleasure game is something that maybe you're a little bit ashamed of playing. In my case, it's Call of Duty, I suppose. Because yeah, it is true. I love a lot of indie games, very much storytelling, heartfelt and such. And then sometimes I just like to brain rot on Call of Duty every now and then with friends. Yeah. But that is the kind of thing that I had in mind.
Call of Duty, there's something cathartic about it, you know, just mowing down bad guys.
Or getting mowed by 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
So, that's a story for another day, but now we can slow down. We can relax, we can take a slower pace, and as I mentioned, these are kind of like memoirs. So what I want to do is start from the... Okay, so all smooth so far. We are 5 minutes into the episode. That's okay. That's what keeps people hooked, and if this segment works well... then I can kind of be a little less precise going forward games and add less detail. So you love to play. I still want quality all throughout, but I want to make sure that the beginning is absolutely perfect because that's what a lot of people are going to hear before committing to the full press kit and such. But I want to ask you, what's your earliest or fondest memory that involves video games?
So, Christmas, I think 1994.
Oh, a year before
my older
I was born.
brother. Yeah. Yeah, I feel old now. I was only 3 at the time. In fairness, I wasn't like 20 or anything.
Oh yeah.
But Christmas 1994. My older brother got.
Unless he says something really, really stupid, I don't need to. And usually don't.
He's very generous.
Obviously. Okay.
And we got Superman. And I remember just.
This is when I start skipping. Like, I have had this conversation. I remember what this guy said. And in this case, is just telling his own story. What I want to make sure at this point, from this point onward, when they start answering questions, is that I don't overwhelm them. I mean, my voice doesn't feel overwhelming. My impact on the episode doesn't feel overwhelming. And there is balance between my questions and my thoughts and them. So I will always try to trim down myself, but I will keep them roughly as they are.
Like good enough to play video games
That
at
was
3
okay.
years
It
old.
was a shortish
But I remember
pause.
just watching my brother play Super Mario World and just play. And of course, that was the younger brother.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's like my earliest, like really clear memory of video games.
Great, yeah. It's a really good memory, really heartfelt. A lot of people actually have similar stories. Like someone else introduced them to gaming. It's always someone else. Anyway, it's not like you can find this passion on your own, except maybe you do it maybe at a later time in your life. But I have a similar story. I think I don't really have a clear first memory, but my first memories are definitely playing games with my watching my uncle play games on his PC.
I've said this
and on his
so many
PlayStation,
times.
the Sony PlayStation 1. Then I got a PlayStation myself. Then I got a PlayStation 2. So over time,
But that's the thing. I mean, I am the person that I am, and the problem is that I find myself repeating a lot of my personal story every episode because these people don't know me. So I always try to say something new, something that maybe I haven't said in other episode or that I haven't mentioned in a while. Like I don't think I talked about my uncle recently, and he's still gaming, by the way. He's got a PS5 and I don't. So imagine that. But I don't think I talked about him recently, so I kind of reintroduced him over here. And I do a lot of like on the moment decisions of what to say, what to not say. I try to make sure that the flow is consistent. So yeah, it's fun to it's basically a very creative real time task to manage a guest while you're managing a conversation, while you're making sure that the podcast is proceeding in time and that you are moving at pace. Sometimes I skip entire questions. Sometimes I add questions if I feel like we're getting close to the end, but we're getting there too fast. There's a lot of improvising, improvisation, a lot of improv in these episodes.
over time, I just got into games myself. But from a very young age, I was enjoying watching him play PlayStation 2. So over time, I just got into games myself. But from a very young age, I was enjoying watching him play it.
I feel like
And
I could
felt
cut
like
here.
it felt really cool to just play as those characters and do those very cool things for a child. That is really amazing. Then around the age of 8, I started playing Vice City, so maybe that was it felt really cool to just play.
Okay, so I can probably cut to Vice City because a lot of people are shocked to hear
At a
that.
very young age, I was enjoying watching him into games myself, but
Okay, so I can cut here and re-stitch together when I talk about GTA.
it felt really cool to just play as those and do those very cool things for a child. That is
And I save a bunch of seconds here.
really amazing. Then around the age,
Okay, this is where then starts, so we'll do that. Cut.
into games myself, but then around the age of 8, I started playing Vice City, so maybe that was a little early. But here we are now. You do mention A Link to the Past and Chrono Trigger on your.
No, without but maybe.
I just got into games myself, but then around.
Yeah, I can actually go straight into then around.
Got into games myself, but then
Self. And we reconnect here.
so over time, I just got into games myself. Then around the age of 8,
You can kind of hear a B there. I'll do it there.
PlayStation 2. So over time, I just got into games myself. Then around the age of 8, I started playing Vice City, so maybe that was a little early. But
I hear some spikes in here in terms of the white noise. So I'm going to delete this whole segment, otherwise
here we are now. You do mention A Link to the Past and Chrono Trigger on your press kit or the page for your game. So do you think those...
Here, I had absolutely forgotten the name of the game, and I didn't want to ask it again. The name is Questing. The name of the game of the name of the game that Ian is developing is Questing. I know it now, but I had forgotten it there and then. I was like, your game. But then, since I have a Notion page with all the questions that I asked the guests, and there's a lot of detail at the top, I just scrolled to the top. I was like, okay, it's called Questing, and I never forgot it from there on. So yeah,
for your game. So Do you think those early games that you used to play have having an influence on what you're doing
Tripped up
now?
my words there, but I think it's okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like in my life I've played so many games that now the thing that interests me and excites me most is like deconstructions of genres. You know,
This is a nice little segment. I think I'm gonna keep it as it is. Let's see.
those early 90s, like that's kind of why I took the direction I took, because there's been parodies of like those
Maybe I'll
games,
cut
but
this
nothing
little-
that's really broken down the tropes and the cliches in what is hopefully the way direction I took, because there's been parodies of like those games, but nothing that
See, I could go granular and do these kinds of. Oh wait. I could go granular and do these kinds of edits,
I took, because there's been parodies of like,
and it would still flow. It would flow even better. But yeah, that is super time consuming to do cuts like this, where you just cut a simple silence and you make the conversation flow better. I try to do it as much as I can. Whenever I spot it, I do it. I just don't go looking for it. Yeah.
in what is hopefully a funny way,
Yeah.
the way we're doing it. So yeah, those,
Here there could be
and
another
you know, it
chance
comes from
to
a place
do
of
it.
love. It comes from a place of passion. I'm not hopefully a funny way,
Yeah.
the way we're doing it.
Although in that case, yeah, see, this is one case in which the silence actually adds.
What is hopefully a funny way.
Rather than cutting the silence here, I would rather keep it because it adds a moment of
The
him
cliches
thinking.
in what is hopefully a funny way,
It kind of builds up to it.
Yeah.
the way we're doing it. So yeah, those, and you know, it comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of passion. I'm not
Oh, totally. Yeah. I can
being
tell.
malicious in making fun of them. So yeah, I think those kind of those played such a big direction in what I wanted to do with the studio and with our first game.
And I'll be honest, I think that that does come through. And also, I really like that questing is basically, well, you do it yourself. It's like Pong meets a bullet hell. And I think that's a very unique concept. Like, of course, Pong, balls, and projectiles, and
Balls
bullet
and
hell and such. Also, I'm a big fan
projectiles.
of bullet hell. I suppose of Pong as well. Who doesn't love Pong?
course.
But yeah,
I who doesn't love Pong? I am willing to bet a lot of people out there haven't played Pong once in their life. Because I think I only played it once, and I did a Pong clone as part of a course as well. So I had to kind of play it and understand how it worked and whatnot. But I'm willing to bet a lot of people out there haven't tried Pong. They know what it is, and they assume the gameplay because they see it. It's simple, isn't it? It's just paddles and a ball. But pretty sure a lot of people didn't.
bullet hell
play
is a genre that I love. And I always love when
You might
someone
love it
tries.
like you love, I don't know, like I can love the Divine Comedy, even though I've only read a part of it. But it has like a historical meaning, a cultural meaning to Italy and to Italian literature, and I love that. That said, I'm a bit of an outlier because I read a lot of the Italian classics that people don't usually read, so don't take my
To
word.
insert some bullet hell into like an unexpected genre or unexpected way, like near Automata, the way that they do
Yeah.
some boss battles there, I think that is absolutely insane. So yeah, that is really
I
interesting.
second
But now we're getting closer to the present. But of course, there's that watershed moment. There's that passage between playing the games and then wanting to make them. So when did you realize?
I hate that I say when I ask this question, I always frame it as the watershed moment. I hate that now I'm basically saying it every time.
Is that when did you have that moment, maybe moment of realization, maybe a haha moment that made you say, "Oh,
Used to be
I actually
aha
want to
moment.
do
Used to be
these."
the norm that I said that.
I mean, it's funny because I mentioned Knights of the Old Republic as like the
Uh-huh.
game that really just affected me.
That's a long ass pause. Going to just cut it a little. Okay.
to do these.
I mean, it's
It's a bit of a long pause here too. Actually, I think I'm going to bring it closer. Not too
Oh,
close.
I actually want to do these.
It doesn't
mean, it's-
feel. It doesn't feel natural when if I move this too close. It's going to.
You say, "Oh, I actually want to do these.
I mean, it's funny.
There's no pause. Like it's like he hasn't even thought about an answer.
I mean, it's funny because I mentioned Knights of the Old Republic as like the game that really just affected me so strongly. And I played that when I was about 14 years old. Simultaneously, when I was 14 years old, I had already decided I wanted to be like a writer, like a creative writer.
And you know, little by little, we're inching closer to the end. We're about halfway through. I would say about halfway through. We will be halfway through around here, which is the next question. So we are getting there. But slowly doing these little changes, the episode kind of comes together. And at some point, I'll export it and put it online
Storyteller
and whatnot. So.
But it didn't occur to me at 14 years old that those two passions
I will
would,
do
like,
all of those things on stream, by the way.
work together. The idea of a game writer back in 2004 didn't seem like a real thing, and like the job title of narrative designer didn't even exist then, really.
It barely exists today. So. It barely exists today.
Right, yeah, I can confirm that as a narrative designer who knows very few other narrative designers.
Yeah.
But as I got older and I continued to play video games, at the same time I was kind of learning how to be a screenwriter. And
this
like the Irish film industry and the Irish industry, I played Breath of the Wild, Undertale, and Persona 5 back to back to back.
Oh wow! Okay.
The summer of 2017, actually, I played Breath of the Wild, Undertale, and this didn't see me for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what I want to do. I love film and I love TV. In 2018, I started my career as a writer and narrative designer in the games industry. But I'd say that summer of 2017, when I played those 3 games.
I'll be honest, I have no idea how we did it. Because I, like, getting entry-level positions for game writing jobs is... Maybe in Ireland it's easier. Or maybe you did it as a freelancer. But I have no idea how he did it. He must be incredibly talented and must have had, like, some sort of, like, huge project behind his back. I didn't ask him, actually. I should have, to be fair. I should ask more questions like that because they're generally interesting. But I don't know how he did it because even in 2017 I moved to the UK. No, yeah. In 2017 I moved to the UK. And finding jobs in narrative design was... Entry-level jobs in narrative design was really difficult then. And he found jobs at, like, huge studios like CD Projekt Red and whatnot. Possibly in a freelance capacity, possibly in a contract capacity, because narrative designers are just usually around for very little. Once the story is done, once it's all planned and it's being implemented, there's not really much else you need to do. So yeah, but
and as well, like Firewatch as well. I played around that time as well,
yes,
which I adore.
These are games he played. By
so
the way,
yeah,
that
I'd say,
but he did work with CD Projekt Red on something, and I think it was Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty. I think it's the DLC.
That summer was a huge turning point in, like, I feel like putting me on the right path to where I am now.
I get you, and I had a similar experience, except I didn't really pursue narrative design as a career yet. I want to say.
Phantom Menace is...
I remember, you know, there was the time when you were playing the various Uncharted and The Last of Us and such, and of course you were already seeing some things, but when I started looking into indies, and at the time I was reviewing,
I think I can cut to this from here.
Except I didn't really pursue narrative design.
Imagine having Phantom Menace in your portfolio.
Design as a career yet. I want to say. But I remember, you know, there was the time when you were playing the various Uncharted and The Last of Us and such, and of course you were already seeing some things, but
imagine having episode 9. I wouldn't want that on my portfolio.
When I started looking into indies, and at the time I was reviewing them, and I was following a lot of content creators, someone... I stumbled upon To the Moon, and when I played To the Moon, the indie game that you might know, I was like, wow, you can really tell some beautiful, immersive stories.
See, this is a bit where I'm not sure if I should keep it, because this is me talking about my own personal experience approaching game development and thinking about games in the context of making them. But I've said this story quite a few times, and I feel like it slows down the pace. Me just saying this thing about me playing some games and finding out that you could do amazing things. So I won't cut the whole thing off of this section because there may be follow-ups later that mention it. but I will definitely streamline it a little bit. So for example, here, let's see what I
I get you, and I had a similar experience, except I didn't really pursue narrative design as a career yet. I want to say, but I remember, there was the time when you were playing the various.
Okay, so for example,
I
remember, and here I can cut to this moment where I mentioned the indies already. So no need to mention all The Last of Us, Uncharted. People know roughly about those games. Do that.
I remember when I started looking into indies, and at the time I was reviewing.
There's a little bit of a cut. You can kind of feel it, but also not so much that it pulls you out of the episode. And I think it is due to this little silence here. If I can isolate that one and move everything closer together.
But I remember when I started looking.
You still feel the gap, maybe more than before.
Remember when I started looking into.
There's no way to fix it unless I do this.
Remember when.
Oh, this actually fixes it a little bit better. Let's see.
I want to say, but I remember when I.
It's a bit of a gap, but I think it's connected a lot better now.
I started looking into indies, and at the time I was reviewing them, and I was following a lot of content creators. I stumbled upon To the Moon, and when I played To the Moon, the indie game that you might know,
again, I can probably cut this bit and jump straight to the moon. To the moon.
But I remember when I stumbled upon To the Moon, and when
great. Have you lost anything important there? I don't think so.
I played To the Moon, the indie game that you might know, I was like, wow, you can really tell some beautiful immersive stories through games. This is what I would like to do one day.
Yeah.
Even as a hobby or something. So I had a similar experience. Like, there's always that moment when you're like, wow, I want to blend these two things that I...
Wow twice. I would rather not do that.
There's always that moment when you're like, I want to blend these two things that I love, games writing or games and art or games and music, and people just then go to town with it, which is...
What's that sniff?
Just then...
Oh yeah, no, I remember. I think I was having the sniffs because my nose was full because of the heat and all the different temperature.
I love games writing or games and art or games and music, and people just then go to town with it, which is amazing. And what'd you say?
Okay, and I feel like I've talked enough in this bit. I've added something to the conversation that wasn't just weird context around myself, and now I can just move on. And
in all this time, you mentioned that you've been working in the games industry since 2018. What would you say is a big development challenge that you've overcome, and how has it changed your way of making games moving forward?
I mean,
not a huge fan of
me,
this question,
especially
I'll be honest, because I feel like there are two questions in one, and most people only answer one, which is the biggest challenge they've overcome. Maybe I should split it into two. I should be like, once they've answered this question, the first half, then I ask, okay, how has this changed your way of making games moving forward? So I think it's still important. Like, it's still... Some people might answer that in the course of the question of the answer, but some others might just leave it out. And I think it's important for people who are listening to know, oh, this is how you learn from mistakes. It's fine to make mistakes because you can learn from them and you can learn to make things better. It's something I really believe in. And Outer Wilds really solidified for me. Like, I think when I played Outer Wilds, I was really captured by how that game deals with the topic of making mistakes because of scientific evidence and whatnot. And no, I'm not going to make any spoilers if you Quickscore haven't played it, or if anybody else who might watch this hasn't played it. But there's the whole thing about making mistakes. The whole gameplay core loop, the core gameplay loop, rotates and hinges on making mistakes and repeating over and over what you do. It's true of many games, but thematically, design-wise, it is even more so true in Outer Wilds. And it really got me thinking about the power of learning from mistakes, especially when then I talked to Kelsey Beecham, the narrative designer of the game of Outer Wilds, and
she kind of said that it was a core pillar of the game, the concept of making mistakes. So it was like, actually, this is something I've believed in my entire life. Nothing is a huge deal, as big of a deal as most people make it seem. Well, not nothing, but most things are not as big of a deal as we make them seem or look like in our brains. Because you can always learn from those mistakes and do better. There are some extreme causes in which that doesn't apply, obviously. Like, I wouldn't say, oh, my bad, I killed someone. But I would say, oh, my bad, I didn't realize this was important to you. I will learn from this. Or, oh, my bad, I made a bad call on a client project. I will learn from this and I will not make this mistake again. And people usually are understanding of that. If they're not, the problem is usually with them and not you. So, yeah.
Context of like making my own thing and starting my own studio. It's been a real...
That's a long ass pause, which I'm gonna cut. Forward.
I mean, for me, especially in the context of like making my own thing and starting my own studio, it's been a real lesson in being patient. Because, I mean, for a lot of my career, I've worked in very fast-paced studios. Because I've worked on a lot of live games.
You mentioned working on CDPR as well, or at CDPR.
Yeah.
I've got my cat here who was just moving from her bed to the couch because she wants to sleep. I said Kida, and she just said, okay, whatever. Sorry, lady. I didn't mean to disturb you in any way. CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, I actually, because I joined CDPR like maybe halfway through the development of the Phantom
You literally told me, leave me alone, man.
Liberty. So by the time I joined, it was like just non-stop work, getting stuff done, implementing,
Here's
quest
where he's
design,
talking about
etc.
Phantom
It was
Liberty.
so fast-paced. Meanwhile, working on my own thing, I've been working on questing on and off since 2019.
Oh, okay. So very early
because
on.
of... Yeah, exactly.
So
and
segment is fine,
the lack of experience I had years for the game to get to a place where I'm... During those 5-6 years, some people might say I probably should have done that. But I believed in the game.
But, you know.
Yeah. But I believed in the game enough to stick with it, and I believed in what I was trying to do with the game to stick with it. So here I am, 6 years later, talking about it, and I'm glad I did stick with it. But like,
yeah, and you've also progressed.
Sure
you're making progress, so yeah, you are committed to finishing it, and that is important. I kind of stepped in there. I never like it when I'm interrupting guests in the middle of their like train of thought. I don't know why I did it there, but I can make it a little bit.
And I'm glad I did stick with it, but like.
Yeah, and you've also progressed. You're making progress, so yeah, you are committed to finishing it, and that is important. You're already above any of them out there.
Yeah, so learning to be patient is as a relatively impatient person, it was a big challenge.
Get you, yeah, totally get you. And yeah, well, I mean, you started working on Quest. Okay, and here it becomes a bit more of a back and forth. Like that, my intervention, my little comments become shorter, and because usually I use the beginning of the episode to. And this is a pattern that I'm noticing now, actually, but I think I use the beginning of the episodes to make my guests feel at ease, make them feel like they're talking to a person. And then the questions like start. Because first it's just, oh yeah, this has been your experience, this has been my experience, unless there's something very big that resonates with me towards the middle. And they say something like that is very big and that I feel is important, and then I add something to it. But usually towards the middle, I've bought enough time to get this episode to about 30 minutes in length. So I'm going to be faster in asking the questions, and they're going to be more comfortable in answering them too. I don't think I do it consciously. Don't get me wrong. I think it might be something I'm subconscious that I do. Because I just like... Personally, I'm a huge people pleaser. I like to make people feel at ease. And a lot of people tell me that I manage doing these episodes to make them feel at ease. And that's always the most precious feedback that I can get, because it's what I want them to feel like. But yeah, the point is, I always try to make them come loose a little bit first, just make them comfortable, and then I start with the much more quick fire questions without adding much to whatever's happening. Not to the extent of this big chunk here, at least, where I spoke for about a minute before asking, well, about a minute including asking the next question. Usually it's a lot shorter. Like here I speak for about 10 seconds, which is the time to ask the question. This is about 30 seconds, just time for another question. Not even, actually. I think it's a clarification there. Let's see what happened here.
But like,
yeah, and you've also progressed. You're made many of them out there.
Oh no, here I added
yeah,
something.
so
that
learning to be
didn't require
patient
it,
is
but
a
then
big
this
challenge.
30
Yeah, totally get you.
30 seconds.
And yeah, well, I mean, you started working on questing pretty early on. You mentioned you were working on questing. So we already talked about this, but Pong meets Bullet Hell, I think it's a pretty unique concept, honestly. But where did the idea come from? Like, what prompted you to
I always
start
make
working?
genuine. They're not false. I genuinely think that Pong meets Bullet Hell is genius. And I love Bullet Hell. I love Brick Breaker, which is close enough to Pong. So to me, a concept like that is incredible. It's interesting. So whenever I have a chance to make a genuine compliment, I do it because I know that, people like validation, and it's not just because they like validation. It's not manipulating them. It's like, I know people like validation because it makes them feel heard, seen, listened to, and it may satisfy that little negative. It may push away the little negative voice in their head that says you're not good enough. Which I hear all the time as a creator, as a writer, as a podcaster, as a content creator and whatnot. I always have that little voice in my head, and I'm sure you have too, Quivscore, for example, that says, "Oh, you're not good enough. You're not going to do this." Unless you're blessed with a lot of confidence, in which case I really envy you. But you might have that little voice in your head telling you that. And if I can get someone to feel a little better about themselves in these short 30 minutes, during a week that might have been busy with its own pressures and whatnot, I will always try to do it. So in this case, I felt like giving him a genuine compliment. I did, and I think it landed well.
Questing. And was it already formed back then as an idea, or did it just happen?
Kind of. I mean, the Zelda games are like probably the biggest influence on questing, and there's a couple of boss battles in A Link to the Past, and I think Ocarina of Time as well, when you're facing Ganondorf. And the boss battle, it's not the entire boss battle, but it's a portion of it where Ganon will fire an attack at you, and Link just knocks it back with his sword. And it only goes for 30 seconds at a time, maybe. And battles.
This is the inspiration for questing. I remember that.
Because I didn't think it was enough to carry an entire game, so you don't know which angle they're coming.
For example, this is a pretty long segment. He goes on for about 2 minutes, in fact. But I'll keep it because it's interesting. It's just him talking about the inspiration behind his game. It's not me saying some random crap about my own life and getting into
the
games
battle system.
No.
That's really interesting. And I've listened to a podcast recently that a fellow content creator in the space that said that basically every developer, every game designer builds on the game designers that have come before. So you take the best of previous games and make your own and discard the worst. Of course, making perfect ideas is pretty much impossible, or at least executing ideas perfectly is pretty much impossible. But that's pretty much what happened to you here, I think. It's just you saw something that you thought was super fun. You took that, you extracted it, it's perfect. So what would you say has been one of the most memorable reactions someone has had to it?
Okay.
So I remember, because I was at Gamescom Canada in Edmonton last month. I remember, and because it's strangers playing your game. If you don't know them, exactly.
With their own preconceptions and expectations and such.
Laughed at the jokes in the game.
That's nice.
Here I make another weird
I can die
digression into how I find writing comedy very hard.
Happy one person gets it. That's all I want.
To think of himself as being really great at writing comedy.
That's all I want.
Well, someone who doesn't think of himself as being really great at writing comedy, I imagine that is a really good, a good feeling.
I think I can cut it here because
Because
Yeah.
I've never really quite
Because
met
then
more
I
of
don't
a serious
care.
tone. But if one of my jokes lands,
I don't care.
then usually it's it's a
don't
big
care.
moment for me when it happens.
Who
So,
cares?
I mean,
dude?
there's
who
this-
cares? It's a big moment when your jokes land. Like honestly.
happens. So,
Yeah. I mean,
that's-
there's this old cliche among writers.
Okay, and now I can just cut this. Go back
Yeah.
here.
a good feeling.
There's this old cliche among writers, which is very dark, but is also a joke. That's just dying is easy, comedy is hard. And yeah, I kind of get it, you know.
Yeah, no, totally get it. Well, I mean, I suppose this question kind of answers itself already because, well, we talked about the unique con that you've implemented and you think is really cool.
So I mean,
this
the
is about
demo
mechanics.
that's out at the moment, it only kind of
Demo that's out at the moment. I don't think there's a demo on this page. Taking it down. Or might not be available for Mac, so it didn't show it to me.
plants the seeds of this mechanic. But there is a big fan of seeds of this mechanic. But there is I'm always a big fan.
Big
Mechanic
pause
is I'm always a big fan of when there's mechanics that are hiding kind of beneath the surface that players don't know is there initially until later in the game when the mechanic reveals itself and the player's mind is blown, or at least I hope it'll be blown with questing. And so we have this kind of, I don't want to say it's hidden or secret, but we have this, I guess, subtle morality system that kind of is quite subtle at first and then it to emerge as the player's morality system.
It makes a lot of pauses here, and the only explanation I can confidently have for this is that he's trying not to spoil too much. So he's really controlling what he's saying and his words. That means that we get a lot more long pauses than before, and I kind of have to tweak them all. Let's see. Now it should feel a little bit more natural.
That players don't know is there initially until later in the game when the mechanic reveals itself and the player's mind is blown, or at least I hope it'll be blown with questing. And so we have this kind of, I don't want to say it's hidden or secret, but we have this, I guess, subtle
Much better. It does flow
morality
much
system that kind of is quite subtle at first, and then it slowly begins to emerge as the players make more decisions.
Yeah, see, even more pauses here. So yeah, he's clearly trying not to spoil too much about the mechanic, and he's trying to be very controlled about what he says.
As the players make more decisions about how to play the game, and it's not like or Telltale. As the players make decisions about how to play the game, and it's not like Mass Effect or a Telltale game where the player chooses left and that's the game, and it's not Mass Effect. It's not like
No, that doesn't work. I have to put this one here.
and it's not like
Oh, we're very
Mass
close
Effect
to the
or
end now.
a Telltale game where the play, and it's not like Mass Effect or a Telltale game where the player chooses left or right or right. It's the morality system we use is like all of these, a series of micro decisions that the game keeps track of that slowly shifts how the game works. That kind of slowly shifts how the game. That kind of slowly shifts how the game works as it progresses. And if I give away too much more, people will know what's doing it, and they'll start metagaming. So I'll leave it there.
There you go. That's the explanation there. That's why he had so many pauses there. He was trying not to spoil too much to avoid metagaming and whatever. But yeah. So as you can see, this was an example of a segment during which I had to do a little bit more work because he had so many pauses and he was really trying to control his words. So to make sure that the whole train of thought didn't feel too repetitive or they kept flowing, I had to tighten it up a little. And that means we also save time on the podcast, by the way. And we are almost there, actually. I think it's just one, maybe two, possibly three more questions and then the conclusion, and then we're done.
Okay, great. Interesting. Okay, well, but I'm sure it's not the easiest thing. There's probably a lot
It's
of
a pain.
branches involved. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big pain. Okay, good to know. But yeah, so well, we're actually near the end of the interview, but now
Yawning,
comes
I'm
the
sorry.
part that I like to
Not
call
bored, I'm just
reflections, because I'm about to ask you a question that is the core, the heart of the Indie Diarist, and I always love asking this question to everybody. I think we tiptoed around the answer here and there. I can expect what yours is going to be, but I want to ask you, Ian, specifically, why are you a game developer?
Still a big
What
fan of
drives
this
you
question.
forward?
It's one of the very first ones that I came up with, and I
mean-
will never change it.
And this is going to sound more than anything else.
I don't think it's
And-
pretentious at all, but yeah, go on.
Thank you. I appreciate. I needed to hear that.
Okay.
What did you say?
Identify myself as a storyteller more than anything
Oh,
else.
this will sound pretentious. I identify myself as a storyteller.
I don't think it's
And-
pretentious at all, but
I
yeah, go on.
identify
Thank you, I
myself as a
appreciate-
storyteller, so maybe
I
I'm
needed to hear
arrogant
that.
or pretentious.
And I think what we have with video games is like the most exciting, interesting storytelling medium in the world at the moment. And I think as an industry, we've barely scratched the surface. There's like so much potential with the stories we can tell here. So that's really what I'm driven by and what I'm
Okay.
this insane storytelling medium that we have at our disposal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. And inspiring others is a big one. Leaving something for others to enjoy and all of that. I think it's it's a really solid answer there, and it's a really solid dream. So yeah,
I'm projecting
you-
there too, because it's one of the things that
you
I
didn't mention
believe in.
the value
Leaving something better leaving the world better than you find.
of
than you found.
patience and all of that. But what would you
Yes.
say has been the toughest part of your journey so far? How did you push through it?
This is the introspective part. I love it.
I mean, the thing is, like,
This is where the true
relatively-
nature of my guests comes out. And usually people, for some reason, the people that I've invited on the show usually are pretty open when it comes to talking about this stuff. I have never had someone who closed up and went defensive when it came to talking about these things or felt uncomfortable, which makes me think I haven't found a lot of people who are not, at least in some form, very much approaching everything introspectively. So I feel like there's a lot of people who are self-conscious in the game dev community based on the over 70 episodes that I've done. And that's good, because you need that. It's a skill that you need when it comes to making games. But it's nice to see it reflected in the kind of answers that I get. I never get someone who gets shouty, never get someone who feels offended by some questions, never get someone who has a fragile ego, as far as I know. I got lucky with my guests. At some point, I will find someone, I'm sure,
Didn't-
but we'll...
as a writer, I mean, like,
And there's obviously those people who just went through trauma and aren't really that comfortable talking about that trauma. But so far, I haven't had them. And of course, in that case, I would totally understand. So.
I was a bad writer for a few. I mean, the thing is, like, I've always been relatively confident as a writer. I mean, like, I was a bad writer for a few years before I got decent, and then I got pretty good.
Doesn't that happen to everybody?
yeah. If you want to be good at something, you have to be bad at something first.
Yeah.
But
Very
I was
bad.
so much yeah. But I was so much less confident in terms of like my technical design skills. And there was so many times where I'm like, this is not going to work. People are going to hate this. And you have to stop yourself from deleting hundreds of lines of code
Yeah.
in your moments of weakness and doubt.
Yeah.
And I mean, Now,
yeah, no,
like,
I think we
thing
can
I get.
skip here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
so
no,
I will
definitely. I mean,
take-
you can always balance, especially in an RPG. You can balance things relatively easily. So yeah.
Yeah, so etc.
I knew you were going to mention the story because yeah, it would hurt me too. It would hurt me too if someone said, I did 2 games. I
The
knew
art
you were
style
going
is
to go
bad.
for that.
I don't
yeah.
like it. It doesn't make sense, etc.
I knew you were going to mention the story because yeah, it would hurt me too. It would hurt me too if someone said, I did 2 games last year that were very small for 2 game jams.
Might keep
Both
this
of them
running.
got praises for the story. One of them said, this is one of the most interesting. That is a very hidden gem in this game jam.
Maybe not.
And I was like, I will take any criticism over the technical aspects because I
Yeah.
am definitely not a programmer for my day job. But
I don't like this thing because it makes me sound like I am not open to criticism over story, and my stories are amazing and whatnot. What I actually wanted to say here was, I feel much more vulnerable when people comment my story because my storytelling skills and my writing and whatnot, because it's a very personal and dear thing to me. It's a thing that defines me in a way. Programming wise, I know I am a novice. I'm very much a beginner. I have a lot to learn. I will always learn. Not even in writing, I will always learn. I haven't even published a book yet, and I feel like when I will publish a book one day, I will have learned so much for the next book, and then for the next book. And you never stop learning with these things in the creative field, especially if you ever feel like you've reached your peak of learning skills, there's something wrong probably in how you're approaching it, because you might be getting stuck in a comfort zone. You never stop learning. But the thing is, it's not about my writing being good, it's about what my writer being bad means for my self-esteem in a lot of ways. So I can take criticism over my writing and my storytelling skills and whatnot. It just hits a much, much, much deeper and more, and possibly more fragile nerve when it happens. And I feel every single word that is said when that happens. Whereas if someone criticizes, my art skills, which are close to 0, or my programming or my game design, I'm like, yeah, fair enough. I'm still learning. And it's not the main thing that I feel defines me and what I like, what I am proud of, so to speak, when it comes to certain things. Again, it doesn't mean I'm good at writing. It just means that it's tougher to pull out the thick skin when that happens. But still, I've learned to do it, and so on. But I don't think that's what comes across in this segment. So I think I will cut this bit out. I think in this segment what comes across is, I will take any criticism over the technical aspects, but please don't touch my writing. That's not what I mean. I do welcome criticism. It's just tougher for me to process.
etc.
I knew you were going to mention the story because yeah, it would hurt me too. It would hurt me too if someone said, I did 2 games last year that were.
It doesn't make sense, etc.
I knew you were going to mention the story because yeah, it would hurt me too. It would hurt me too if someone said.
I think it will.
Because yeah, it would hurt me too.
Okay, that's where I do it. That's
It
where
would hurt
that's where
me
I'll
too.
stop it. Like it would hurt me too. That's exactly what I meant to say, and then I kind of went around.
But yeah, the writing criticism of the writing would have sucked to hear. So I was
Yeah,
really
exactly.
happy to hear that. And I can really relate that there.
Yeah.
It's what we do. It's what we like to do. So it's where.
And I think I can come back here. Like it's what we do is what we like to do, and we save a lot of
In the story
time as well.
because yeah, it would hurt me too. It's what we do. Is what we like to do. So it's
yeah, that
where we
works.
feel more vulnerable, I suppose. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I kind of say it there, but it's all the part in the middle that I'm not proud of.
Exactly.
Of course,
You can always accept
not
constructive
what I
criticism,
wanted
but
to focus
there's
on.
yeah.
I mean, if you're a writer who can't take constructive criticism, or I guess in a certain sense, if you're a writer who can't
Something
take
you have
rejection,
to do, but it just hits deeper.
you won't make it very long as a writer.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess though it's true with anybody. Like if everybody is like, if you're an artist and someone criticizes your artistic skills, and they say, "Oh no, your art sucks," that's what you do.
So it's like they're attacking you personally. It feels personal. That's the thing. That's the thing that hurts writers when they receive a lot of negative criticism. It feels personal. It feels like you're commenting on them as a person, which is never the case. It's never about the person themselves. It's about what they do. It's about their skills. It's about how they presented a certain story and whatnot. But some people can't really make that difference. I read somewhere that the best writers, the ones that end up becoming bestsellers and they end up publishing a lot of books, they're the ones who have the thickest skin of all, and they can get through all the people tearing your work to pieces and wading through all the crap and digging out the good stuff. So yeah, I aspire to be that one day. I feel like I've learned a lot, but I still have to learn a lot more. Okay, well then, Ian, I think it's almost time to go, but I have one final question for you. And as I mentioned a few times, these are like memoirs. These are like indie diaries.
getting
If
close to
this
the
were
end,
your
actually.
personal
Sure.
diary, if this episode were
Okay.
your final diary entry, what's one message you would leave for fellow developers or players? I'll leave the choice to you.
Now here's the very long silence that always comes when I ask this question. Because people have no idea what they would say in the last note. But then some of the best answers in the entire episode come out.
So I'll leave the choice to you.
Oh my god, you really ended with like the biggest question possible.
Yeah.
There's genuinely, I could spend hours leaving all kinds of messages and ideas and insights, or might find this symbolic diary. But I don't think we have 2 hours, so I'll try. I'll try something here. Honestly,
And here he goes on to
This-
think a lot. Yeah, there you go.
doing this is like
And
you
another
have
huge
to
silence. So we're
here.
saving a lot of time. here.
Honestly, doing this is like you have to realize that it's completely subjective what we do. And that is such a double-edged sword in terms of if you're making a
Long
game, especially in
silence.
terms of if you're making a game,
Love it.
and as long as you continue to look for that person and write for that person who may one day get it, then all of the rejection and all of the criticism, there's gold on the other side of the rainbow,
Well,
so to
I
speak.
needed
can't believe
to hear that,
I'm an
so I'll
Irish
be-
person. I'm an Irish person. I picked the most stereotypical metaphor to end on.
The gold.
The other side of the rainbow, so to speak. I can't believe I'm an Irish person. I'm an Irish person. I picked the most stereotypical metaphor to end on.
The golden pot.
the gold at the end of the rainbow. But I needed to
know.
hear that personally for a number of reasons that maybe I will tell you separately. But thank you, Ian. It's been
Well, since this is a real-time thing, I will say why I needed to hear it. I am querying for my novel right now. Like, I have finished my novel. It's done. The story is there. The characters are well refined. I think the plot is all there. The main plot beats are there. The world building is there. So I've started sending it to agents. I'm not going through the editorial route. I'm going through not like the editor publishing route first. I'm going through the agent route so that I can refine the manuscript and then possibly sell it to an editor. Also, I want an editorial partner. I've always wanted one. So I think that will help me grow a lot as a writer. And I haven't really heard much back yet. I've only emailed about 20 people, to be fair. But of those 20, I've only received 3 responses, and all 3 were rejections. No one asking for the full manuscript, no one asking for a partial. They were just very subjective rejections. There were just people saying, one said, "Oh, this is just not right for me." The other one said, "The premise is enticing, but I wasn't sold on the voice," or something like that. And that agent mostly represents a lot of literary sounding, right? Very, very flowery prose. And my prose isn't like that. So I knew that was going to be a rejection. Then the third rejection was an agent that I really hoped would be interested in my novel. But he said, "There's much to admire here, but I wasn't quite convinced I'd be the right agent." The reason for that, I think, is that agent sells a lot of like dystopian commercial stories, possibly with male characters, with a very high stakes world building hook. In my case, my story is very intimate. It's about two sisters in a dystopian world. One gets in trouble, the other one needs to go and get her back and save her by navigating this weird world, which is controlled by technocracy and whatever. There's a lot of detail in there. But I felt like maybe it didn't quite resonate with the character, maybe it didn't quite resonate with the story, maybe because, there could be a million reasons. Maybe that agent is an only child. He had no idea what a sisterly love story looks like. Or a story about sisterly love, not a sisterly love story. So, of course, that comes with a lot of doubt. There's people just telling you, this is not good for me, this is not something that I would represent. And then there's a lot of silence. And you start wondering, why is there a lot of silence? Why are these people not interested in what I did? Is my novel bad? And when Ian here said, it's very subjective, it only takes one person to say yes, I was like, yes, it's true. Like, I can email 100 people. If I get 99 rejections, but one says yes and really believes in the novel, that's all I need. That's one person that loves and understands what I've done, understands where I'm coming from, and wants my story to get out to the world and impact other people as well. And so that's why I said I needed to hear this. And it did help me quite a bit that day. Then again, I heard nothing back from agents, and so I'm kind of back in the same spot. But I still kind of go through that mental process in my brain and always think it only takes one person to say yes. And I keep sending emails. Sooner or later, someone will reply. And also, I went to an authors event recently, and someone said, you only started querying in May. 2 months is baby time in publishing today, especially in the UK. It's getting slower and slower. So don't despair, because someone might actually come back to you from that initial batch in May, especially because it's summertime and whatnot. People might not have even started reading their submission piles yet. So, well, anyway, let's keep going.
the gold at the end of the rainbow. But I needed to hear that personally for a number of reasons that maybe I will tell you separately. But thank you, Ian. It's been lovely having you here on the show, and I think it was a lovely episode. I always love connecting with writers, fellow writers, because it's just you are my people. So yeah, that is always fun. Now, it's time for some parting words. So where can other people find you, and if they do, what is the best way to support you?
So, I think our most consistent social media account is Blue Sky, which is kind of my little sandbox of weirdness in terms of creating social media content. But we're also on Instagram, which I don't really know how to use, and TikTok, which I know how to use even less. If you want to check us out there. And in terms of supporting the game, the demo is out.
Okay, I think this is the end, basically. This is the end of the episode. That's him spamming his links. Then I will put them in the description and whatnot. I also send them over email, so that's super helpful. And now this is where I basically start pulling in the outro. I think I'll start pulling it in then. It doesn't make sense to put it in. But one thing I'm curious to see is, how much time did we save? Not much. About 2 minutes, maybe, all in all. Yeah, I think we saved about 2 minutes all in all of. No, that feels too little. And yet, that seems to be the case. Okay. I think with all the edits, all the jumps and cuts and whatnot, we saved about 2 minutes. So this is going to be around 31 to 32 minutes long episode, which is perfect. It's the length that I'm going for.
The passion project. So anyone who's willing to give it a go, it means the world. If you like it, leave a review. and wishlist the full game as well, because that's there on Steam.
Amazing.
Soon.
And obviously, I will put all of these links in the description of the episode so people can find you and
this is
give
where
you
I
a
pull
follow
in
and
the
support you in
outro.
any way they can. But thank you again, Ian, for coming into the show. Was
Wishlist the full game as well, because that's there on Steam.
amazing.
Soon.
And obviously, I will put all of these links in the description of the episode so people can find you and give you a follow and support you in any way they can. But thank you again, Ian, for coming into the show. Was a lovely episode with you. And we'll definitely check out Questing when it comes out, and also the demo, of course. I might play it for the YouTube channel. Who knows? We'll see when the time comes. But wishing you all the best with Questing, everything else that comes after it, and for the rest of your game design career.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, and this is where the episode ends. Now, I know what I said, and I know that my usual format is recording an outro right after the end of the episode. But I think, since I don't have to mention the email address where people can find me if they are other game developers, and since this feels like a good enough thank you, closure, and whatnot, do I really need to do an outro? I can probably just cut it there. And from now on, I can probably do it for every single episode. I'll just mention the email at the beginning. And that helps because it's like an extra 5 to 10 minutes of editing that I save. Because then if I have to do different takes and whatnot, still, I mean, this is too short. I think I have to do it. Okay, you know what? I'll just... I don't know. Let's see.
I love connecting with writers, fellow writers, because but I needed to hear that personally for a number of reasons that maybe I will tell you separately. But thank you, Ian. It's
Okay, what if I close it here? Yeah, what if I do that?
been lovely having you here on the show, and I think it was a lovely episode. I always love connecting with writers, fellow writers, because yeah, it's just you are my people. So yeah, that is always fun. Now it's time for some parting words. So where can other people find you, and if they do, what is the best way to support you?
Okay, we have that section.
So,
right.
I think
That
our
seems to
most
work.
consistent
We go
social...
The time
here.
comes, but wishing you all the best with Questing, everything else that comes after it, and for the rest of your game design career.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I think I have to close it. It's alright. So let's see. I think I can do it there actually. Let's see what we can do. So if I raise this one, right?
Design career.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No way, but oh no, it doesn't really make much of a change because the thing. Let's see.
I appreciate it.
No. Yes, to get
Having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, can finish there. Okay, and I just cut it when there's the peak. Let's see if that works.
Game design career.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Bit abrupt. Maybe I can probably do a bit of a fade out. No, has to be very, very much. Oh wait. Okay, so maybe here. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Shame I didn't record the outro. I'm sure it's going to haunt my wildest dreams, but I don't feel like anyone who's ever read the outro has then gone on to, or listened to the outro has then gone on to follow me on Discord or leave a rating to the podcast and whatnot. So I feel like the outros are a little bit useless, except for thanking my guests. So maybe I will kind of restructure them. I will have some time to thank my guests at the end after this episode, because for now, for this one, I'm happy because there was a thank you at the end. It was very nice. But if I feel like I need to thank my episode, my guest in a special way, I will do an outro, and that's it. But that's my schematic mind trying to do stuff and bring closure to something that kind of already has a closure. So maybe I don't. Okay, so we are at 30 minutes and 46 seconds. That's nice. Very nice length, very close to the round number. So now this is what's going to happen. I'm going to bounce the project or section. I don't know why it's the term is bounce, but I will do overload production only because I don't think I need anything else here. And now I'm going to save it in my lovely folder here. I'm going to call it export 1. And now we wait. While we wait, this is my channel here. While we wait, we don't upload to YouTube. YouTube, it does everything automatically. What we do is I upload to Spotify and Patreon. Now, on Riverside, usually, Riverside gives me, where is it? Jagged Snake Games. It gives me clips that I can play with. Now, if I click edit on this one, what's going to happen? Doesn't work. So the good thing about Riverside is that it analyzes the transcript of your recording and it pulls out some clips for you. It calls them magic clips. Now, the magic clips recently have been completely broken because you can have them, but you cannot edit them. And so I don't know what I'm playing with. I don't know how things look. I don't know where the subtitles are. And it gives you like this strange template that if the video doesn't work, you can do anything about it. So, unless it's a JavaScript issue, which might be, which makes me think, actually, let me delete my site. Where is it? Let me delete my site data. I believe it's in browser and security, site settings. JavaScript, third-party cookies, view permissions and data stored. Okay, there we go. And then we go into Riverside, all the cookies and whatnot. Riverside.fm, 36 cookies. Why is that? Why is there go YouTube cookies on Riverside? Anyway, I will delete this. Maybe this one might fix it. Below this page. Okay, now we do a little login using my Google account. And if it was a problem with cookies and such, this should fix it. If not, it's the website then. And it's been like this for 2 weeks. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I did write to support considering I'm paying for this service. So let's see what happens. If it's not fixed by next week, I will probably just email them. For now, I just filed a bug report, but we'll have to see. But that means I cannot publish a clip with the episode. So I'm gonna have to just release it and don't say anything and then just promote it once this issue gets fixed. Because I rely on Riverside to make these clips for me. I really don't have the time to go in and edit new clips by myself, especially if it finds me sound bites that I can use and that I remember. In this case, for example, I would probably talk about this one, the subjectivity element. I don't use all the clips, I just use one of them, but even if I downloaded this one, it would have the subtitles in the wrong place. It wouldn't be able, I would need to cut it dramatically and change a lot of things. So, well, unless I can download the Premiere file, which I can actually do. I could technically work on it on Premiere. I'll think about it, but it's not something I will do today because it's already 5 p.m. and yeah. So let's go into here. And we create a new episode.
So this is now the upload process. So I go in here and I will simply grab the export. First of all, what I'll do is I'll do a quick check of the export. So the topic, and I'm going to
Check out
ask
the
you
volumes
as many
as well.
questions as I possibly.
Genres, you know, like
Ooh.
a Stanley Parable or that's, and when someone, the first person was
When I work on the master track and the master volume, my personal guideline is always, if you can hear it at half volume, at 50% volume, it's fine, because then people can raise the volume and lower the volume as much as they want. But if you can hear it at 50% volume, then the audio should be okay. At 50% volume on your computer. Now, of course, every computer is different and such, but roughly this should be okay as a guideline when it comes to the volume. And right now the volume is fine.
like, this is funny.
If I raise it,
I was like,
it's going to be very loud and it's going to be very
I can
audible.
die
So it's
happy.
good for like commuting and public transport and whatnot. So I feel like a lot of podcasts have just very low volume and I can't hear anything on the Victoria line. So yeah.
One person, but I'm an
Fine,
Irish.
though. I Thank you didn't see again, any Ian, for coming
problems.
to the show.
Volumes are
Yeah.
consistent throughout. This is just a very quick check. I didn't re-listen to the whole thing. And now I can actually go in and upload the episodes. So this is episodes, export 1, put it there. And now this is where I put all the details and I start to schedule things. So in this case, it's Ian Lynch embracing subjectivity. When Pong meets Bullet Hell, something like that. Indie Diary number 75, is it? 75. It says. What does Notion say? 75. It should be 75, but you know, Riverside will know anyway. So. Spotify will know anyway. So it's all right. Okay. In this episode, I spent some time with Ian Lynch, founder of Jaggy Snake Games and an ex-developer at CD Projekt Red. Wait, is Red uppercase? CD Projekt. Yeah, it is. CD Projekt Red. What else did he say? What's some other stuff? Ian Lynch, Jaggy Snake Games. Jaggy Snake Games, independent formerly Scopely. Okay, Scopely and Donkey Crew. From a developer. Oh damn it! I opened. Ex-developer at CD Projekt Red, Scopely, and Donkey Run. I never heard of that one. Donkey Crew. Okay, never heard of that one specifically. And Donkey Crew. Now working on a Pong meets Bullet Hell game called Questing. Always lovely as a writer. Ian has learned to, so too long. This is what I struggle with. Then I need something short because people generally don't read a lot about the descriptions. So Ian is a writer who's learned to embrace the subjective nature of creative work, and he has so much to share, and he had so much to share during our chat. Enjoy Podemoji, which is my little shortcut for the 2 emojis that I have assigned to the show. Now I'm going to dive into my emails, which are fortunately open on another screen. I'm going to Ian, install on quit possibly, thank you. Here are the links, so I'm going to put the links to support him, support Ian. Emoji, Blue Sky, Insta, TikTok, Questing demo. Wait, Questing demo. Why is it? Okay. Talk, Insta, Blue this guy. There we go. And then we have support the show, which is in a separate little boilerplate thing that I have right here. Okay, support the show. Okay, support the show. Here we go. And I copy all of this. In this episode, I don't think I mentioned other episodes in this one. Yeah, no, I don't think I did. I want to add a poll. This is season number 3, and this is episode 15. Yeah, 75. I started 60. Yeah, 15. Next. Published date. Okay, so now is where I go there and look at when is Ian supposed to be published. The publication date is for August 11th. So we move this one to August 11th. We publish it always at 9 a.m. UK time. And we schedule. This is the whole process of putting an episode live. As you can see, I've got already another one scheduled for next week. Not this Monday, the next one. Scheduled for the 28th of July, and then on the 11th of August, Ian's episode is going to come out, and it's full. It's 30, 54 length. Oh, look, it's surprisingly close to this one. But yeah, so this is the list of the episodes. Now, what I'm going to do is just make this black for a moment. I need to dig into something. So we go into creating post. One-step editor. What's that? Oh, good. Okay. Okay. Not 2 steps. That's cool. Good. Okay, so now I'm on my Patreon page, and I always publish episodes for patrons as well. But for patrons, they're available as soon as they're ready. So in this case, this one, my patrons will receive today. Exactly now, actually. This is going to be preview. What I'll do is here, paid access starts. Oh, that's cool. Oh, interesting. Hello, patrons. In this episode, I spent some time with Lynch. Okay, I basically copy the whole description, and I take out the bit to support the show because, you know, they're my patrons, so they kind of know already how to support the show. What I'll do is format these links a little bit better. Yeah, and then the questing demo goes there. What does paid access start here mean? Can I? I don't know. Well, they just changed the editor, so this is new to me. Right, so then we actually grab the title of the episode from here. In Lynch, Embracing Subjectivity, When Pong Meets Bullet Hell, Indie Diary number 75. Paid access starts here. We are good with that. Paywall. This is very interesting, actually. It's really cool. Okay. Well, anyway, so this is paid access not to all tiers, just to the tiers that pay $2.25 and above. I've only got one member who does that right now. Someone might have downgraded their tier. Oh well, anyway. And I will not sell the disposables. Whoever emails notification. Post for members with access. Although members are being notified. Yeah, okay, that's fine. They changed a few things here. So the season 3, episode 15, full type. Select timestamp. I think I'll just do a random bit around here.
So, we already
Be halfway through the development. Okay. I can
Nice.
die happy. One person gets it. That's all I wanted.
well, someone who doesn't think of himself as being reflections, because we
It blew my mind in 2004.
Okay.
I hope to just one of my games does that for someone. As in the makes them want to.
And
to finishing it, and yeah,
But as I got older and I continued to play video games, at the same time I was kind of learning how to be a screenwriter.
no.
they have progress.
Exactly.
So yeah, you are committed
Exactly.
to finishing it, and that is
Of explode in your face or something like that.
Mm.
from like what prompted you to start working on questing, and
this
was
is
it
nice.
already formed back then?
I think this is a good snippet. Okay, we've got the draft here. That's fine. Preview post. I don't think I need to do that. So now I will hit publish and make sure that no sensitive information is displayed when I hit publish. Okay, no, good. Fine. Right. So now the post is live for patrons. The post is scheduled for everyone else. My patrons will receive the post, the new episode now. They can listen to it whenever they want. And yeah, basically there's that. So in a nutshell, that's it. Now the last bit of this process would be scheduling those clips, but I can't find the clips on Riverside. There's no way for me to, well, there is a way for me to edit them, but it's going to be too long and not something I can do today. So I think I'll stop here when it comes to the process of the podcast. That's okay. But the episode is ready. The episode is done, all edited. What I'm going to do now is just save this one, close. I will close this window, and I'll close this window, and this window, and this window. And here we go. And then, yeah, that's basically it. This is the entire workflow of publishing an episode for the Indie Diarist. Obviously, it took me much longer here. One, because I had the groceries to check, but two, because I was talking at the same time, was explaining the rationale and such. Usually it takes me about an hour to do the whole thing. Here we've been on stream for about 2 hours and a half, so it's been a bit of a slower process. But I hope you enjoyed it, Quickscore. You've been there for basically most of it, and I'm definitely going to do it again. Like, I don't know when, because, I don't know, well, whenever I work on the next one, which is probably going to be in August. Because I'm off next week to Italy, and my next recording is on the 1st of August, if it goes through. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to record a special episode by myself, because I don't have other alternatives at this point. Although I could ask some people to... Yeah, I could ask some people to move earlier. See what I can do. But anyway, as I was saying, I hope you enjoyed it, Quipscore. This was really nice. Really nice having you. I had fun, and it was nice with someone in chat it felt very relaxing. So I think that I'm going to do them again. I'm going to do more of these. It was really cool. So let me just move to web only. Oh God, what happened to my webcam? Give me a second. Okay, we're back. Right. So yeah, that's there's that. That's it. I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to now go and play some games by myself. I would play them on stream, but I need to rest my voice. But I think I will stream on Monday as well, because I want to finish Loddle before I go to Italy, and I want to do another stream next week. So yes, that's it. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for staying around, and yeah, I'll speak to you next time. Thank you, man. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. See ya! Bye!